Well, we've all heard someone say riding a motorcycle is way too dangerous. And I imagine there could be somebody in your family that feels the same way. Maybe not all of you, but I'm guessing there's a fair amount of you. At one time or another, a family member wasn't thrilled, didn't like you riding a motorcycle. And I kind of get it, uh, but when someone is saying they care about you, they don't want you to get hurt, it's kind of hard to laugh it off. So, what do you do? Do you, do you just stop riding? Uh, when I first began to research and start thinking about riding a motorcycle, my in laws, especially my father in law, was the one who kept telling me, "Oh, you're going to go down. You ride long enough, everybody lays it down sooner or later." And my mother in law was the same way. Yep, every you ride long enough, I've known everybody, and they've had an accident, been in an accident. So, do you stop riding? Because when I first started riding, I picked up some equipment and some gear from a guy whose wife was an ER nurse, and he said she was making him quit riding a motorcycle. He had been riding for probably 20, 25 years. Yeah, probably from an early teenager. His brother and his dad and him uh, every summer would take a trip from Iowa to Alaska and back. And that was just kind of something they did together as the men of their family. But he quit riding. And he said he probably would not take up riding again until after his kids have had graduated from high school. And just recently, my wife and I were talking about a motorcycle trip that we had done, and some friends of ours, a little bit older than us, the husband said he had ridden, or him and his wife both had ridden for a very long time. She too is a nurse, and I said, I asked him why he gave it up, and he just kind of motioned with his thumb pointing toward his wife. And my wife says, uh, thinking that it was an age thing. And she once my wife seen that, she said, "Well, get a trike." And he says, "Yeah, I'd be game for that." And then he motioned to his wife again, and she says, "It's just too dangerous. He's a good driver, but I just don't trust all the other people out there." And I have covered that in a previous video, so I won't go into that in much detail. Back to the question, do you stop riding? Do you flat out argue with them? Because arguing that motorcycles are safe is a losing argument, I think. But you can talk to them and help them understand that you are a good rider and what all that entails. So, yes, I'm in favor of trying to help them understand why you ride, because they're not really saying they're afraid of your motorcycle. They're not sitting in your garage looking at an empty motorcycle and saying that hunk of chrome, albeit black chrome, is going to break my heart someday. But what they're actually envisioning is you sitting on that bike getting hurt, being in an accident. And I think the same could be said for my in-laws, because my wife was going to ride with me, and they knew that. And I think they were just afraid something bad would happen to my wife, to their daughter. And this is where I'm saying, don't get into an argument with them. about it. Just express, I understand why you're worried. You know, you want us to be safe. It's like we do as parents to our kids. We live in Iowa, late in the fall, the rut season, when the deer are out moving. Your kids are leaving home, going back to school, going back to where they live, what have you. And we say, watch for deer. That in Iowa is code for I love you. I don't want anything bad to happen to you. Please take care. So basically, that's what I think people are saying when they say motorcycles are too dangerous. And they're not taking into account your skills of riding a motorcycle. So that's what I suggest is you can talk to them about the appropriate gear, that you've taken a motorcycle safety course, that you ride properly, you have learned properly, you respect weather, you respect road conditions, which is why I'm shooting this today, because it's raining out there. I know, I saw all the guys coming back from Sturgis this week, and it was raining harder than this, and I just said I'm not going to do it. So that's why I'm sitting in my garage today. So the weather, you respect weather, you respect road conditions, and you also know your limitations. That's where it gets back to what I always say, ride your ride. And that you're always continuously learning how to ride and become a better rider. And this way you're not claiming that motorcycles are safe, you know, and you're saying to them, I take the risk seriously and I'm doing something about it to cut down on my risks. And I think that makes you much more credible. So ultimately, you still have your life to live. And that may not please everybody all the time, but you can try to get across to them why you enjoy riding, why you take that risk, but why you mitigate the risks by all the things that I had just previously mentioned, and try to help new beginning riders learn how to become a better rider, to be able to be aware of their surroundings, to make them a better rider. Ride like you're invisible. Number one. So, what I'm saying is, don't automatically give up something meaningful to you just because someone else don't like it. I feel bad for the guy that quit riding because his wife is a nurse and seen other people come in that had wrecked or been in an accident. We don't know the causes of those accidents. Was it the motorcyclist's fault? You know, is it riding beyond his means, beyond his ability? We don't know. And maybe he's a good husband, and he didn't want to leave his wife alone with their children. So, you know, to each his own. Until you walk a mile in somebody else's shoes, you really don't know. So, I just want to say, keep making memories by laying down the miles. And if you run into somebody who is afraid for you riding a motorcycle, I hope this is a conversation that you can have with them, and maybe go about it correctly, because with my in-laws, I just kind of blew it off as, yeah, my father-in-law went down, but I know what kind of a driver he is. It's stomp on the gas and slam on the brakes. There's nothing easy about it. I think there is now that he's in his 80s, but you know, in his 50s, I think he was a little more rambunctious and took a little more risks than I would have, even at his age. So, are you putting something off because someone else is afraid? Uh, sit down and think about it, and think about the better conversation you can have with them, because it may not be the activity or what you're taking part in. It could just be they don't want you to get hurt. So until the next time, ride your own ride, and we'll see you next time.